up these campers, way, hey, and up these campers, way, hey, and up these campers, as Captain Red on orders.
So, ye want more, do ye? Well then, pull up a chair and listen close, for this next bit ain't just any old sailor's yarn. So there we were. The serpent eyes are locked onto mine, its voice rattling the bones like a thunderclap.
Are ye certain of the price, little pirates?
It asked me, its words a warning, like the last breath of a dying man. And what could I say? I'd already set me course. I'd already danced with the devil, or whatever it was that serpent was. So I told it plain. Aye, serpent, I've come for ye treasure, and I ain't one to back down from such a deal once struck. And that's when it happened. The beast, it tilted its head, those cold eyes glowing with hunger that would eat ye whole. And it spoke again. No riddles this time. Just one word.
Follow.
So we sailed through that damned fog like it were pulling us in, thick as a dreamless sleep. Then, through the fog, it appeared. An island. Not some pitiful little rock. No, this were a massive, hulking, jagged beast of stone, rising from the sea like the broken tooth of the mountain of some long, dead god. Its cliffs were sharp as razors, and the fog clung to them like the breath of a corpse. We dropped anchor some distance from the island, and beneath those rising, jagged giants' teeth, sharp and ominous as they were, the fog had parted for a ways around. And there was a strange, almost magnetic pull to the place. Something in the air, something that tugged at your very soul. The longboat, it creaked and groaned as we rowed towards the shore, the water slick and dark under the overcast sky. There was no immediate sign of a treasure, just dense trees growing up from the edge of the beach, twisting and clawing through the sky like hungry fingers. So we made landfall, and the crew spread out, weapons drawn of course, eyes a scanning every shadow, every rustle of a tree. The island was unnervingly quiet. The kind of silence that presses down on you. It felt distinctly like we was being watched. There were no clear path at first, just an overgrown jungle, thick with vines and roots. We hacked and slashed our way through. The air was heavy, as I recall, with the scent of moss and something fetid and horrid, rotten. But after a time, we found a narrow trail cut into the earth, almost hidden beneath a thick canopy of trees. It weren't like any path made by foot or hoof. No, it snaked and wormed like some sort of body had dragged its way, slow and deliberate and methodical, through the thicket. We followed it for a ways inland. The ground was soft now beneath our boots. The trail led us through a labyrinth of twisted trees, their branches knotted together like some ancient spell had twisted them into place. We journeyed like this for several hours before we came to a clearing. And there, standing like a sentinel, were an enormous tree. Its bark was dark as night and gnarled and twisted into shapes that seemed to shift in the corner of the eye. At the base of the tree, half hidden by the roots, was a stone altar, withered and ancient. The carvings on it were worn, and they were still something unmistakable about it. And that's when we saw it. A symbol carved into the stone. A serpent, coiled around the key. The riddle was in the design itself. We knew the treasure were near, but where? I searched around that clearing for an hour before one of the Ranu, agile on his hooves as he were, found a cave hidden in the very shadow of that large tree. A narrow, low entrance. Ye had to stoop some to get through. And from out it blowed a foul air from deep within the earth. The breath of it just hit you in the face. And there was a faint echo from within the cave, a sound that carried like a whisper across the rocks. We lit torches and entered the cave. The walls were slick with mildew and moisture, and the floor was uneven, jagged. We followed that passage deeper, twisting through tight spaces, the air growing colder, heavier. There was something about the passage that felt alive, like it had been carved for a reason, not just by time, but by something more. After a while, the tunnel opened into a cavern, and there at the very center of the cavern, resting on a pedestal made of stone, were a chest. It were beautiful, more beautiful than any treasure I'd ever seen. Its surface were covered in intricate carvings, so delicate and detailed it seemed it might breathe. The wood were dark and polished, gleaming in the dim light of our torches. But there was something about it too, something that made the hairs on the back of me neck stand up. It were as if the chest weren't just a chest, but a part of the very island, self, a key, waiting to be unlocked. And so, the riddle we had unwittingly begun to solve became very clear. The island had led us here, through its winding paths and shifting shadows, and now we stood before the treasure, a chest, a thing of magnificent beauty, so beautiful it drove ye mad to see it. Silver, gold, brass, all twisted together like a snake, a serpent's coils. It was alive, that chest. It had a presence, not like any treasure I've ever seen. There was power in it, power that made me pulse quicken, made me skin crawl. It was a calling to me, lads, a calling to me. But we weren't ready for what happened next. I reached out my hand, and I touched it. And the lock, it just clicked open, like that, as if the damn thing had been waiting all this time for someone to touch it. The lid creaked, and from it came a light. Not the kind of light you see from a lantern. No, it was something different. It burned the air from your nose and the vision from your eyes. Yet at the same time, it was the sweetest air I'd ever tasted. Full of desires and fulfilled dreams accomplished. Some of us cried out in the deepest sorrow you could ever hear, while others laughed like they were lunatics. And then, as quick as this rush had come, it passed, and we were left standing there, looking at the empty bottom of a rotten old plain wooden crate. Not a scrap of its former glory, no gold, no jewels, just a nothing. The silence that followed was deafening. The light had vanished from our very souls, and suddenly it appeared, leaving us reckon with what we've just felt, what we'd thought, what we'd experienced, what it meant. There were no treasure to speak of, no riches, no power. The treasure inside, it weren't gold, it weren't jewels, it was a promise. Aye, but you'll have to let me wait till next time before I tell you that tale. 'Cause let me tell you, it weren't just the chest we opened that day. No, it were a door we should have left closed and never walked through. Now, if you like me, and you're inclined to follow, I might just tell ye the rest of this tale.
Captain Renard stood tall and proud, weathered face from seas unbound. On the scarlet saber fierce and fast, tales of treasure from the past. Mr. Sin was sharp and sly, glimmer in his pirate's eye. Maps of gold and secrets deep, vows of riches kept in sleep. Sing the tale they weave tonight, the bold Renard and Sin's delight. Stormy seas and skies so gray, hold your breath at what they say. Cannon fire and ship-strong wood echoed through the dark ominous mood. Scarlet saber cutting waves, silent whispers of old graves. Beneath the deck the secrets hid, ghostly laughter from the lid. Whispered legends bound in chains, promises of endless gains. Sing the tale they weave tonight, the bold Renard and Sin's delight. Stormy seas and skies so gray, hold your breath at what they say. La historia que dejen esta noche de la audaz Renard y el placer de Sin, mares tormentosos y cielos tan grises, conten la respiración ante lo que dicen. Stormy seas and skies so gray, hold your breath at what they say.